right, everyone. It is October 21st, Tuesday. It is currently 7:02 p.m. By request of Chair Galvin, I will be chairing this meeting today. I am calling this meeting to order, and I will begin with a roll call. Commissioner Jones.
I do not see her online.
All right, she's not currently present. Commissioner Sani.
Present.
Commissioner Williams.
I see she has joined Zoom chat and being our co-host.
You're recording, right?
Yes.
All right, we'll just give her a minute to get settled. Commissioner Williams. You can unmute and say that you're present. We see that you're on the Zoom. All right, we'll loop back. We do see her connected on the Zoom. We just want to make sure that she is properly online. Commissioner Galvin.
Present.
Commissioner Anderson is myself, and I am present. Commissioner Bishop Henchman.
Here.
Commissioner Headland. Here. Great. Just looping back. Commissioner Williams, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Perfect. Okay, first order of business is approval of the agenda. I will turn to commissioners to see if there are any amendments that are required or requested. Commissioner Sani?
Based on the recent email traffic, I move that we strike item 2, the election. The digital copy might have already accepted that. The election of officers, specifically, that is, I believe, no longer in the mix.
Great. That is currently reflected on the digital form, but since that was after the agenda had posted, yes. Is there any second for that motion? Second. Great. Any objections? Amazing. So moved. Any other amendments to the agenda?
One note for item 9, B, Commissioner Bishop Henchman, I think you had emailed out the slight adjustment. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm going to pull off the consent calendar so
Okay.
we can make that change.
Okay. Understood. Thank you. That's all I had.
I'd like to pull the settlement with Max off the consent calendar, move it to the action agenda.
Okay. Is there a second?
That one just.
Oh, that one, yeah, just happens. Great. Amazing. Any other amendments to the agenda? With none, any motions?
I move that we adopt the agenda as revised.
All right, any seconds?
Second.
Any objections? With none noted, so moved. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes. Let's see, is Commissioner Jones on yet? Just a quick question. We can come back to that, right? We don't have to. We have to wait? We have to pass minutes to go to the meeting?
No, we can come back.
Come back to it. Okay. Given that Commissioner Jones is not yet on the meeting, I will proceed to officer reports and come back to the minutes once. I'll propose that we come back to approval of the minutes once Commissioner Jones is online. Okay, moving to officer reports. I'll turn to the officers to see if there are any reports to be shared.
I'll start. No, I just appreciate you, Commissioner Anderson, taking over chair duties today. So thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity. Sorry.
In less exciting news, as of our bank statement from September 1st to September 30th of this year, it started at $45,922.77, and it ended at $50,625.74. That reflects a disbursement to us, our quarterly distribution of $4,702.97. That was I believe that was the Q3 allotment finally landing, and Simultaneously, there were some small like paperworky things like making sure we had invoices and had properly like dotted some I's and crossed some T's with our last closing out our last QFR report. I submitted those to ANC and they say we are all good there. Additionally, at the request of Chair Galvan, I did submit our budget through the QFR portal to OANC, so it is now in their possession. So that is off our plate. As OANC starts getting around to processing it, I'm sure there will be feedback, but just balls in motion. That is it from the treasurer.
Great. Any other officer reports? Commissioner Jones, take your time to get settled. We'll come back to approving the minutes in a moment. All right, in the meantime, let's move on to public comment. Just in case you are joining our meeting for the first time, either online or in person, we have 10 minutes allotted for public comment with up to 2 minutes per speaker. If you are joining us online and would like to be recognized, please use the raise your hand feature on Zoom and you will be recognized. Okay, would anyone like to speak? Let's see, Sean Mullen, we are giving you should have the ability to unmute yourself. You are so recognized.
Great, thank you. Thank you, everyone. So looking at the agenda here, and there's one item that I don't see, and I'd really like to get feedback on, and it has to do with the shootings of last week on the corner of 3rd Street and T. That is the building across the street from me, in which there were over 30 rounds fired at the building on one night, and about the same on the night after that. I am pleased to see that there are police patrolling the area 24/7. However, I just want to know if there's any movement as to address this, if it might happen in the future. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Let's go through public comment and we'll have commissioner responses afterwards. Any other members of the public wishing to speak during this time? Okay, I do not see anyone, so I will turn to the commissioners if they would like to respond to public comment or committee members.
I'm happy to respond.
Yeah.
So
Speaking now is Mr. Aaron Price, who's the hair of our. You can introduce yourself.
totally. So I'm Daniel Aaron Price. I'm the chair of ANC 5F Public Safety and Health Committee. So multiple neighbors were reporting, especially through the Eckington group chat. And if anybody here is interested in joining, you can feel free to reach out to us and we're happy to include you on that as well. But many neighbors posted talking about the incident, which is horrifying, to say the least, and really scary and alarming for a lot of people. And this happened over the span of 2 days. There were many, many rounds that were fired over the span of that 48 hours in the evening time. And we reached out to Councilmember Parker's office, as well as the commander of 5D, and this is what was spoken back to us, which is along the lines of what you discussed, but just for transparency. So Councilmember Parker.
This was about a week ago.
About a week ago. So Councilmember Parker's office responded saying, MPD responded to the reports of the gunshots on both nights. No injuries were reported. However, shell casings were recovered along with property damage. The incident that occurred last night appeared to be targeted at a residence. MPD had units in the area in response to the previous night's shooting, which enabled a prompt response. Both shootings are currently under investigation, and MPD will maintain units stationed at the location. So units should still be at that location. And you wanted us to speak a little bit to longevity and sustainability around this as well, to ensure that these incidents don't occur anymore, which I think everybody here is in agreement with as well. So a few things that I would recommend doing is, one, Councilmember Parker's office holds a Ward 5 public safety call on a monthly basis. That one is coming up next week on October 29th. It is during the day, so it happens at 3 p.m. going until 4 p.m. Eastern. You can tune in on his YouTube page. If you just look up Ward 5 YouTube or Councilmember Parker's YouTube page, you'll be able to find it there, or you can register through Zoom on his website. The commanders always show up and they give reports there, and we'll be able to answer further questions too, especially regarding the sustainability on that corner, because it is of great concern. And then the other action item I have too is we put out a resolution on gun violence reduction that we have actually been trying to get multiple ANCs to pass. Thus far, it's been passed by just about a dozen ANCs regarding evidence-based public safety approaches to reduce gun violence. I highly recommend messaging Councilmember Parker about that resolution to get it enacted, hopefully in some sort of bill or legislation. So we just encourage more advocacy, especially around that, because that is a longevity solution to gun violence that's happening in the area. So those are my recommendations, and of course, anybody else can comment in addition, so.
Yeah, this Commissioner Bish mentioned it's
Yep.
in my district, and I echo everything Daniel said, and I'm very sorry that this happened to you. I'm pleased MPD did respond very quickly. And it is an unfortunate fact of these things that all they're going to tell us is it's under investigation until an arrest is made, until an arrest is made. I'm going to keep asking them, so they're going to have to keep saying it's under investigation until that point. I plan on being on the 1029 call that Daniel mentioned, so that we'll make sure that they know this is a top of mind for the community. But certainly it's open to the public, and the more voices echoing that, the better.
I'm gonna go to Oliver for Councilmember
Okay.
Parker's office. Should have the ability to unmute now, Oliver.
I'm unable to
we
do
can
my
hear you.
camera, but it's fine. Yeah, I echo everything that you guys said. I mean, that was pretty much the update that I would give in regards to the issue. I tried to also, I'm not able to put in the chat the link to our Ward 5 public safety call, in which, again, you guys can talk to the commanders. And if you guys would like to have me address any questions ahead of the meeting, I'm happy to do that as well. Again, yes, right now it's still under investigation, and they still have patrol units that are going to be in that location as well. I'm also, I'm here to also just to drop into this meeting just for a little second, because I have to go to the other ANC meeting. But I wanted to, whenever time lets itself, I'm going to introduce you guys to Jerome Brackens, who is now our constituent service coordinator for ANC 5F. And he will be doing a lot of the interactions with you guys, as well as joining the ANC meetings. He has a wealth of knowledge that he can provide to constituents as well as the ANCs. And he's ready to hit the ground running and working with you guys. And he'll be also giving the updates. So again, I'm still the public safety person. So if you guys have anything that you would like for me to, I know I've talked to a number of neighbors in regards to this incident, but moving forward, you guys can always still contact me. And I'm in, constant communication with MPD and our public safety apparatus. So for all the neighbors that had to experience, for the ones that I didn't talk to, I'm still sorry that this happened. And we're doing whatever we can to ensure that, these things don't continue. And I'm sure that, MPD can vouch for that as well.
Thank you, Oliver. I know you have to hop in a minute, but I think we may have a response to regarding from another member from Sean. Do you have a minute to stay on?
Yeah, I'll stay on for a second.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Sean, you are now recognized if you had a follow-up question.
I did. Thank you. And thank you everyone for staying on top of this. I appreciate it. I know we all keep each other safe, so thank you for that. Oliver, I did have one question. Did MPD state how long that we should expect patrol to be out there?
I don't have that answer right now, but I can follow up with our commander and to see. Of course, they want to make sure that they're there. But again, MPD still has to, move around and move around all across the ward, because they cover all three wards, 5, 6, and 7. So I can't give you the answer, but I'll still follow up with them, and then I'll see exactly how long it'll be. Of course, they're still, making sure that they have units even around there. So if you don't see a vehicle that's stationary, they're still patrolling the area, because this is one of the areas that is in high concern for them.
And Oliver, I've granted you co-host privileges, so you should be able to drop your contact information to chat. So,
Oh,
Mr. Matt-
perfect. Yep.
Perfect.
And then you guys can also reach out to me at any time. I usually give everyone my direct number. So if you guys have anything or you guys see anything, you guys can give me a call and I'll be happy to flag that for MPD.
Great. Thank you so much, Oliver. Any other members of the public wishing to speak during this time? I don't see any hands at the moment. Oliver, were there any other updates that you wanted to share from the council member's office? I know we're kind of jumping away from the agenda, but just wanted to be conscious of your time.
Yeah, so I'm gonna hop off and we have he's raising his hand right now. Jerome Brackens, he'll give you guys the general updates.
Oh, okay.
I go to the ANC 5E meeting. So I'm dropping my contact information for everyone and he can take off from there.
Okay, perfect. Perfect, amazing. Great. Okay. In that case, I don't see any other members of the public wishing to speak. Commissioners, any other commissioners wishing to respond to public comment?
I just wanted to give a final clarification. Mr. Brackish, welcome. We will get to you at the section 8 on our agenda when it's public comment from public offices.
So that will be coming up shortly in the agenda. I just misunderstood. I thought that you'd be joining us in a future meeting. Okay. With that, public comment is closed. We will revert back to approval of the minutes. Commissioner Jones, over to you if you are ready.
Yes, thank you. So there's 2 minutes or 2-minute documents that we'll need to approve for today. The first is from our regular meeting on September 16th, and the second is from a special meeting on October 3rd. The special meeting was related to approving minutes from July of this year and another special meeting held on September 2nd or 3rd this year. So on October 3rd, a few commissioners met, reviewed the minutes, talked through some revisions and edits, and then moved forward with kind of approving the edits and then bringing it to this meeting. Are there any questions? I know some edits were made over the last couple of weeks, and I went through today to make sure all of them were resolved.
Great. Any commissioners wishing to respond to that? With none noted, is there a motion on the table?
I move to adopt the minutes as drafted.
Is there a second?
Seconded.
Any objections? All right, with none noted, we'll go into a roll call vote. Commissioner Jones?
Aye.
Commissioner Sani?
Aye.
Commissioner Williams?
Aye.
Commissioner Galvin?
Aye.
Commissioner Anderson and myself, and I vote aye. Commissioner Bishop Henchman?
Aye.
Commissioner Headland?
Aye.
Great. All right. Motion has passed. The minutes have been approved. Okay. We'll jump back to the next item on the agenda, which is announcements from commissioners. This is separate from our officer reports. This is recognizing any commissioner who would like to give an announcement. Is there any commissioner wishing to speak?
Could you repeat what you just said? Because I didn't hear the ending.
Yeah, absolutely. Commissioner Williams, we're moving to item number 6 on the agenda, which is announcements from commissioners. And I was looking to see if any commissioner would like to speak. I see that Commissioner Bishop Henchman had his hand up. So you're recognized.
Yes, thank you. This Saturday is Eckington Day. All are welcome. ANC 5F will have a table there. So commissioners especially are welcome. It'll be from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. in Alethea Tanner Park. It will include lots of festivities, including a fire engine and a dog costume parade if you are so inclined, and lots of fun and food. All are welcome. Additionally, this was just announced today at the council level, Commissioner Pinto, who chairs the Judiciary Committee, will be hosting a roundtable on the youth curfew law. Currently, this roundtable is scheduled to be Thursday, October 30th at 10:30 a.m., where you're unlikely, I think, to get youth who are affected by the curfew, but so that it may end up being rescheduled, we'll see, but certainly it's open to the public, so anybody who has opinions on this law, pro or con, welcome to participate in that. This is a law that was passed earlier this year by council, allowing certain areas to extending the citywide curfew for people under 18, and then allowing certain areas on petition by the ANC to designate a curfew zone with narrower rules. This law was temporary and is set to expire, and the council, there was an attempt to extend it that did not get a majority vote. And so this is kind of the next step of that, is that they're having this discussion. And I imagine after that, there will be another attempt to try to pass it based on whatever feedback is provided at this session. So participate if you're interested. Thank you.
Can you repeat the date?
Sir, October 30th at 10:30 a.m. That's a Thursday.
Thank you.
All right, Commissioner Sunny?
I wanted to highlight that in advance and heading to Eckington Park Tanner Park for Eckington Day, Ward 5 Family Biking is doing a bike ride that starts at the Arboretum. I believe the time is 10:30 is when they go up, and it's a nice time to be out in this beautiful fall weather with families and end up at a community event that ANC 5F helped support with a grant. So it's a nice way to meet your neighbors and get some fresh air.
Great. Any other commissioners? Commissioner Headland?
Yeah, I have two quick updates and then like a bit of a longer one. One is just to note that Pumpkin Palooza is happening tomorrow in Alethea Tanner Park also, and I think that is from 4 p.m. till 8. And that's always a lot of fun as well. Lots of stuff for the kids. I think there's a movie afterwards outside. And then on November 2nd, there is a volunteer day at the Langley Forest Garden in Harry Thomas Park. I'll send an email out to the listserv, the Eckington the Google group, about that as well. I did want to note that last weekend I learned that one of my longtime neighbors on Q Street was taken by ICE and is being detained far away from DC. He was torn from his family. He has 3 kids and a wife. They've lived in our neighborhood for 20 years. It's something that I knew was happening everywhere in the country, everywhere in the city, but this is kind of close. It's come to me. So I just wanted to share because I think in this moment, it's really important for all of us to connect with our neighbors, talk to our neighbors, get their contact info if we're comfortable with that, take care of each other. We are already organizing to support the family of this person, and the neighbors have been extraordinarily generous already. So that is just something that is still happening. If you see a detention in progress, you can call Migrant Solidarity Mutual Aid Network, and I can put the information in the chat. If you need to report something that already happened, you can text them. And then I did want to note that the MPD is still cooperating with ICE in the city, as far as I understand, which is at odds with our sanctuary city status. And so that is something that the council could possibly take actions to minimize, but that is still happening in our city. So update for me.
Thank you. Any other members, any other commissioners wishing to speak? Not to pivot from such a very, very dark issue, and thank you for raising that, Commissioner Headland. Just looping back to Eckington Day, I did want to mention again to the public that ANC 5F does have a grants program. If there's more information on our website, feel free to email us at 5f@anc.dc.gov if you would like more information, but it is there to support community initiatives. So please do consult the website and or reach out to us for more information. We would love to be able to support those initiatives. Okay. Do not see any other commissioners wishing to speak. So I will close that item of the agenda and move on to the next. Next we have announcements from representatives of elected officials. First, we have the mayor's office. I do not currently see anyone from the mayor's office on the line. So I will go ahead and move on to Council Member Parker's office. Jerome, we will go ahead and recognize you now. You should have the ability to unmute yourself and recognize the meeting.
Yes, I do. Thank you.
Welcome.
I appreciate it. I'm very, very happy to be a part of the team. I'm just going to run through a few updates as it relates to the federal government shutdown. There are some resources available for neighbors in reference to some of the frequently asked questions that they may have. And as it relates to furloughed workers that are impacted by the government shutdown, they can file for unemployment insurance through benefits through the Department of Employment Services. I'm going to share a few links as well as it relates to that for anybody that needs it, that's impacted. Another really big ticket item is food stamps. So due to the federal government shutdown, changes in the One Big Beautiful Bill, and the federal government's inaction on funding needs around SNAP benefits for millions of Americans, Washingtonians who receive SNAP benefits are poised to stop receiving payments as soon as November 1st. This would be devastating for the 137,000 DC residents who rely on these benefits to be able to put food on the table. We are closely monitoring the situation and working with the Council's Committee on Human Services, chaired by Ward 3 Councilmember Fruman, to see what options may exist for protecting those who rely on those benefits. It is not lost on our office that all of our priorities around building healthy communities, from public safety to supporting youth wellness and improving our schools, is connected to ensuring every neighbor can afford good quality food. So that is something that we do have in mind. Oliver already touched on the public safety call, and I believe he shared a link for that. So I'll move on to the rescheduled from last month. There's a you can join the listening session with DHCD online on Thursday, October 23rd at 6 p.m. And I'll post a link to register for those that may be interested. There's also the Ward 5 rollout day in Trinidad, October 25th. That's taking place at 10 a.m. at Trinidad Recreation Center. It's going to be a bulk trash and household water waste collection. And then finally, the Care for Youth. Councilmember Parker recently released a 16-bill policy package designed to foster youth well-being in the district. The Care for Youth plan was developed alongside impacted youth and their families, advocates, lawyers, judges, and experts. And residents and constituents can learn more at ward5.us/care4youth and join us in our efforts to stand up for DC youth at ward5.us/DC youth. And to the extent that anyone has questions that they would love for me to take back, I can take those questions, but those are all the updates I have for now.
Okay, thank you so much, Jerome. I will turn to commissioners first for any questions. Commissioner Solani.
Yes, thank you for that update. As someone who had to go through the unemployment process last year, as well as someone who knows federal employees who are going through that right now, one thing I will comment is the website for doing this is probably the worst one in the DC government apparatus. The process is Byzantine, and it is confusing even for people like me who I consider myself fairly technical. What resources are available for those who are having trouble using the website? I know folks have tried to go to Councilmember Bond's office, but they've not been very helpful, despite the oversight she has over that part of the government. Do you have any resources or any ways for Ward 5 residents to get assistance filing for unemployment?
That's a really good question, and certainly technology hurdles are a persistent concern for a number of our residents in the community. One thing that I can do is take this back to the team and see what we have on the table in terms of helping people, and I can certainly get back to you on that.
That'd be great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other commissioners? Any members of the public who have any questions for Councilmember Parker's office? Okay, I do not see any hands. I'm just gonna give everyone just another minute before we move on. Okay, I do not see anyone, so we will close this section of the agenda. Thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to seeing you next meeting. That's just for Jerome. Everyone, please stay on. So
You can stay too.
yeah, you can stay too. Just wanted to let you know that. Thank you for that. I will move on to item number 8 on the agenda, and so which is presentations relating to agenda items. We have one noted, which is a presentation from Harmony DC PCS. We'll have 10 minutes for your presentation, and we'll have Q&A allotted for after that. Please feel free to join us. The speaker is this black apparatus here. Yeah, if you're just closer to there, that's perfect.
I'm on Zoom also. Can I get a share access so I can share the slides with everyone?
Sure.
Absolutely. What is the?
Evan Kuha.
Evan.
I see you.
Perfect. Amazing. So you are being made co-host now, so you should have sharing privileges. If you'd like to be on camera, feel free, but you do not have to be.
Are you able to see?
Yeah, we're able to see.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And for those online, this is linked from the agenda, so you can also follow along.
Good evening, and thank you for having us tonight. My name is Mohammed Türkay. I'm the CEO at Harmony DC Public Charter School. And with me, Mr. Kulha is our principal. We are working at Harmony DC Public Charter School. We are serving grades pre-K through 5th grade. This is our 12th year in DC. We have about 184 students. So we have been using the same building for the past 12 years, which you know that it's been more than 100 years old. And over the years, we've grown to a point that we need a bigger space. And we've been looking for many, many years, and finally we found one space that's really available for us. It's significantly better than our current building. And it has playground, and it is very close to our current building. And after speaking with our community, our students, parents, and teachers, everyone is on board that they want to move there for the next school year. So this proposal is for next fall, starting 26-27 school year. Since I have 10 minutes, I'm just going to go very quickly, and I will give you information about our school. The first part is about our school is a STEM school. We do science, technology, engineering, and math. Every student in our school, they take at least 2 hours of STEM every week. And we have STEM clubs after school for available interested in students. And we also have like science fair once a year. And also we have a STEM fair once a year. So we do lots of STEM activities throughout the year. And our motto is pride. So we do every activity around this motto, and we want our teachers to kind of like relate to their activities to that motto. On our page 4, it shows our growth over the years. Back in 2014, we started with 66 students, and then we were up to 114. And 21-22 school year, we opened pre-K, and then we end up with 140 students. But our building is not as big as that, to handle that. So we converted several offices back into classes, and then we grow from 140 to 158, actually 159 with one more student outside, and then 178, 182. But every room in our current building is used at least by 2 adults. We share the rooms, and most of the teachers, they share the rooms. And if you go hallway, there are tutorings in the hallway. So there's no space. On the other side, we have a huge demand for our school, but we don't have space that we cannot get anymore. So after speaking with our families, and when this building, the old Hope Academy School building became available, I spoke with several of our parents, and we were not sure at first, but later on I realized that they are more interested in, mainly because it's close to the metro station. It's between 2 metro stations, Brooklyn and Rhode Island. It's walking distance. And as you may know, last year in middle of the year, bus routes were changed. And that hugely affected schools like us because we are not near a metro station, and people, they don't want to wait outside in the cold. And last year was really cold. So because of that, we had really poor attendance after January. And our staff, they had a really hard time coming to school. And I personally had to pick them up from the road, and because they used like 2 buses to come to our school. So this move will help us a lot from our attendance, from students, staff, and pretty much everyone. If you go to the other side, this kind of shows our demographics, and most of our students are African American, about 96 to 97%. We have about 1% Hispanic and 1% white, and the rest of them is like others. And the other thing that's very significant is our at-risk population. It's 80 to 84%. This year's 82%, but last year it used to be 84%, which is significantly higher than the state average. And the other one that I want to highlight is the homeless rate. Last year it was 23%. 23% of our students are homeless. So we do lots of activities for our students. We partner with the local churches, organizations. We give them food, clothes. We have a storage at the school that anytime that they need, we give them the clothes. We have washer and dryer. We regularly wash and dry the clothes to the families. If you go to the next part, although we are Harmony DC single-site school here, but we are not alone. We are part of the Harmony Public Schools in Texas, and we are celebrating our 25th year. And in Texas, we have more than 70 schools and serving more than 50,000 students in Texas. And we are the largest single-site operator in Texas and nationwide. And we are the only school outside the Texas that are that's in DC. And the other part is our board members. Currently, we have 7 board members, and 4 of them are our parents. And 2 of them are former parents, but they want to still serve. We are very happy to keep them. And the other 3 are educators. Dr. Akil is our board chair. He's been educated more than 25 plus years. The other one is Ms. Irving. She used to work at the mayor's office. Mr. Charles Lincoln, he's a lawyer. He's also one of our graduates. He's a lawyer from Harvard University. And he was working in DC. And then, yeah. So those are our board members. We are very, they represent different parts, and they represent our families as well. If you go to other page 8, so we partner with so many national and local organizations to help our teachers and students. And I just want to briefly go over like Teach like a Champion, Urban Teachers, Harmony Education Fund. We also partner with Harvard University Education Department, and we partner with Teach for America, Better Lessons, and City Year, and Reading Assist this year. So we get our students, they get lots of support everywhere. And most of those organizations are non-profit, and they come to school, and either government or federal, like philanthropic organizations, they pay for their fees. And the other part on page 9 is basically talking about the online resources that we have. We have lots of online resources, and they're freely available to all our students, and they can either work at school or at home. And if you go page 10, page 10 and 11, they're from Empower K-12. Empower K-12 is a third-party data company that shows the district reports on education. You can go online and you can see pretty much all the schools in DC, and you can sort them based on their words, their like grade levels and everything. And we asked them, just to be honest, how they're doing academically. And they made a survey, and they look at all the data for many, many years. And basically, they're saying that we help our students grow significantly more than the schools that are similar. Those are all the data points. if we go to page 11, it basically shows about our comparison between our school and schools similar to our school in DC. There are different ways to measure a school. One of them is like state test, how well our students did, and compared to our schools, we are doing fine. The other one is how we do about absenteeism, chronic absenteeism, and attendance. Our chronic absenteeism has been decreasing a lot, more than 10% every year. Our in-city attendance has been increasing, and our teacher retention rate is pretty high. And for the lower elementary students, there's a class observation by the AC state. So our scores have been significantly higher compared to other schools, and honestly, significantly above the average for the citywide. So we are doing very good. If you go to page 12, every year ASIS publish a report, usually in December, and it shows the schools. And this just comparison of our school between the schools in Ward 5 with high at-risk population. So we had one of the highest scores among all schools in DC. If you go to page 13, we are very proud of our progress on our academics. So every year our students, they show lots of growth. And Empower K-12, they highlighted us one of the highest growth in DC back in 22-23 school year. And this year also, we had the highest growth in DC, both Math and ELA, and we were highlighted by the Charter Alliance.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I know I'm running out of time, so I'm just going to go very fast. I just want to come to the point. So page 14 and 15 are showing our data compared to other schools in DC. That are available. Again, those are online information that you can see. On page 16, it shows our future projections for the new location. Right now, we have 184 students. We want to have 250. That's our enrollment cap, but we don't have space here. So within 3 years, incrementally, we want to reach 250 students, and that building has the capacity. And page 17, there are some pictures from our activities. Once a year, we do DC STEM test. We invite families and schools all around the DC. On page 18, we do the math challenge. This is also DC-wide. Every year we have lots of applications, but only we can get up to 120 students because that's our limit. And on page 19, it shows our programs for after school. We do lots of after school programs from chess, cooking club, robotics, spelling bee, soccer, STEM. About 130 students out of 184, they stay for after school activities. So it's a huge number. And on the page 20, it shows 3 different maps. The first one is from our location to the new location, which is about 1.2 miles. It's about 6 minutes with a car. And the second and third map shows the distance from the Brooklyn Metro, which is about 10 minutes walk distance from Brooklyn Metro, or about 10 minutes from the Rhode Island Metro. So this is a perfect location, once a decade opportunity that we don't want to miss. On the last page, I don't want to, so the last page, it just shows about what we have done so far. We have communicated with all the schools, and we get their start and end time. So we already have different times, so we don't have any problem with that. We offer bus service to students, so that reduces the traffic. We provide after school clubs and after care, which is about 130, about 70% of the students they stay. So parents, they don't line up to school. In current location, about in 10 minutes, everyone is gone. So there's no car waiting outside. And it's going to be the same thing in our new location. And we have at least 2-3 adults waiting outside directing traffic in the morning or after school. So we'll do the same thing. And we will remodel this facility, make it really nice, and be proud for the community and our school. And we want the families to come to the new building. And we plan to serve 250 students in the next 3 years. Hopefully, we'll add every year. Our new facility has more than enough parking space for our staff members. So our staff members should not park the parking on the street at all. This is the first time.
No worries.
Good,
Perfect. Thank
thank
you so much. Commissioner Sani, I'll turn to you to see if you have any comments to add.
Yes, thank you. Well, thank you for that lightning round through this presentation. I appreciate you reaching out to ANC 5F ahead of time, and I appreciate you meeting with me a month or so ago, and we really got to talk about some of the soft concerns in the community, like the questions you answered, especially at the end where you're talking about pickup and drop off on that corridor is challenging, and I appreciate your focus on making sure it's the safest experience as possible. We recognize real estate is a challenge to get in DC, especially ones that are already purpose-built for small humans. So it's exciting that this space that used to be Hope Tolson can live on and serve more students. I'm just very thankful that you're working with us, and look, I've drafted a resolution or a letter of support for you as you go before the Charter School Board to request an amendment or revision to your charter. And so I hope my fellow commissioners will vote in support of it, but also feel free to ask any questions also.
I will turn to commissioners first to see if they have any questions. I have none. In the meantime, I don't see any immediate hands, so I will go ahead. So just to clarify, is 250, I think I may have misunderstood, I just want to make sure I fully understood. Is 250 the full capacity of the new building, or is that how much you hope to increase in the next 3 years?
So our annual cap is 250 for pre-K through 5th grade.
Okay.
So the full capacity for the building is more than 250, it's like 600.
Okay, got it.
So we don't plan to get more than 250 at this time.
Okay.
If that changes, we'll come back again and we'll discuss.
Okay. And then my follow-up question regarding enrollment and demand. I know you had mentioned that in your current location, you had received like outsized demand for that space. How much demand are you getting per year?
So
like an approximate number is fine.
So we track the demand from December till the end of October every year.
Mm-hmm.
And roughly we have 300, this year 360 students applied.
Okay.
Last year it was like 340, 330. Mm-hmm. So every year we get a little bit more.
Okay.
But we historically get only like 50 to 80 students. Because most of the students, they either stay, we don't have space. Mm-hmm. But now, the new location, we also made an analysis for the number of students in the families in the location, mm-hmm. and there are significantly more students in the new location, mm-hmm. And because that's also opening doors to like pretty much anywhere in DC. People can come with metro and just walk to the school, and then we don't see any problem getting students to our building.
And then regarding, just one final question regarding capacity, since you had mentioned the full building can accommodate up to 600 students. I know that in the past, some charter schools have split the building. Is that something that you potentially envisage, or is that more you'll have kind of operating capacity over the full space and just will not grow to use the full space? Like what will happen to the rest of the space, I guess is another way to reword that question.
So even the new building is like 34,000 square feet. Mm-hmm. Our current building is like 20,000 square feet. Mm-hmm. So if you move everything over there, yeah. Technically you can grow, but we will still occupy about 70% of the building. Okay, so it's not going to be. But if you want to increase in the future, there's room to grow. But we have enough. We'll have enough space. So right now we share the rooms, so we have our own rooms, and our internationals will have their own rooms. So we don't intend to lease it to another school. Yeah. We don't intend to use a third party. So we're going to use the school, and one of the classes that we are going to turn into STEM lab and make a space. Mm-hmm. So and other classes that we are going to turn into like computer lab and other stuff. Mm-hmm. So we'll have enough. We will occupy those extra space.
Okay. Got it. Any other? Thank you so much. Any other commissioners who have questions? All right, alternative members of the public, if anyone would like to ask any questions. Great. So Sean, I see your hand. We will recognize you now.
Great, thank you. And thank you for the presentation. I'm not sure who's the best person to address this question, but once Harmony DC leaves that location, do we have any sense what will replace it in the building?
Our current building? Mm-hmm. So this is a school building for more than 100 years, and it used to be a church school. So at this time, we don't know because our lease is expires at the end of next year, so it's a perfect match for us. But once it's final,
so you don't own it; you're just leasing.
Our lease is expiring at the end of July 2026. So basically, we'll discuss with the owners. I'm pretty sure they will. It's a school usage building, so there might be a new school or a startup. I'm not sure.
Great. Any other questions from anyone else? Okay, I don't see anyone. Thank you so much for your presentation.
Thanks,
As Commissioner Sani mentioned, a resolution or letter supporting that is on the next item of our agenda.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you again. Thanks for having us.
Okay. So, the next item on our agenda is the consent agenda. For everyone who is joining, for anyone who may be joining this meeting for the first time, in a matter of kind of efficiency, their commissioners have the opportunity to place items on the consent agenda, in which we can vote on resolutions and letters of support as a slate. These documents have been circulated in advance to commissioners and also have been published online. Just as a reminder, item 9B, which is currently listed, has been moved to the action agenda, which means it will be discussed and debated separately. Any items that are on the consent agenda will not be separately debated. We'll just go ahead and move to a vote unless any item is removed. With that in mind, any commissioners wishing to remove?
Just a clarification, you said 9B, I believe you meant 10B for the settlement agreement?
Oh, sorry.
Before
Oh,
we
sorry.
amended the agenda.
On the digital version, the consent agenda is item 9. On the printed versions we have here is item 10. So under the consent agenda heading, item B has been moved to the action agenda. Any other commissioners wishing to remove any other item off the consent agenda? Okay, I will, is there a motion on the floor?
Move to adopt the consent agenda.
Oh, great, all right, I second it. Any objections? All right, perfect, none noted. We will go ahead and vote on the consent agenda, which means we are voting on the items A, C, and D listed here. We will do so with a roll call vote. Commissioner Jones?
Aye.
Commissioner Sani?
Aye.
Commissioner Williams? Commissioner Williams, if you're voting, we unfortunately cannot hear you.
Aye. I was saying aye until I looked up. I was like, oh, I just had a mic on.
I just wanted to make sure. I figured you were saying words and we couldn't hear you. So Commissioner Williams votes aye. Commissioner Galvin?
Aye.
All right, Commissioner Anderson is myself, and I vote aye. Commissioner Bishop Henchman?
Aye.
Commissioner Headland?
Aye.
All right, with a vote of 7 to 0 to 0, the consent agenda passes. Next, we will move to the action agenda. On the action agenda is a resolution authorizing amended settlement agreement with Max Wine and Liquors, ABRA 060758. Commissioner Bishop Henchman has put this forth, so you are so recognized.
Yes, thank you. And there may be on the call Jeffrey Jackson and Wandon Sayum from the establishment. If they are, certainly want to give them a chance to answer any questions that people may have. We're familiar with Max. We signed a settlement agreement with them in June of 2024. They have new management, so these are new owners, and they're looking to make some changes in the establishment. If you haven't been there in the last month or so, I suggest you stop by. They've added a lot more grocery items. They're trying to make this more of the neighborhood store in addition to selling their alcoholic products. And they're looking to extend their hours. So currently their settlement agreement doesn't allow hours after 10 o'clock. Under the previous establishment, they actually closed before that at 9 o'clock. They're looking to align both of those to be midnight, which matches the precedent set by APCA for other establishments. So this proposed resolution would authorize the execution of a new settlement agreement that modifies that language and makes one other modification about the building exterior to prohibit flashing lights or to turn off flashing lights after 10 p.m. They're already in the Christmas spirit. They've put out some good Christmas lights and everything, but I've had some a note from a couple of residents that would like to put a restriction on that. Both of these, been talked with the establishment. They're excited about both of them and excited to continue serving the community. And I will leave it there and answer any questions we have. And if they're on, they can certainly say hi.
Okay, see, I don't think I see members, anyone from the establishment online, but if we are mistaken, please do raise your hand and we'll recognize you. But I will go to commissioners first for any questions. And I see Commissioner Galvan's hand. Go ahead.
Thank you. And thank you, Commissioner Bishop Henchman, for your work on this. I'll just, make a note that it's really good to hear that we have new management that's, willing to work with us. Not the settlement agreement that we already had put together, I think, was good. And, some of the challenges across the street were folks that were going into the previous establishment, or into the current establishment, and drinking and then being at that bus stop at 4th and W. And I know you're aware of that as well. So hopefully reducing some of the, public drinking. And obviously they don't have that much ability to do that, but just as long as they're aware of that and kind of keeping track of the sobriety, I guess, of those particular folks. I'm not sure if that was discussed previously. And I understand there's a competition, component to this, right? To go till midnight, like similarly other businesses. And as long as, we don't have lots of loitering and issues, hopefully we won't have similar challenges like we have had in some other establishments. So anyway, I just wanted to put that out there, and thank you for being flexible on this and for your work on this. That's all.
And if I could speak to that, this is a changing block. I may not have said where it's at. It's at 4th and Rhode Island. In a couple of years, it may be the only thing that hasn't changed about that block. This used to be next to a neighborhood market. It's now a giant hole in the ground, very slowly turning into 38 apartment units. Immediately to the east of that is what's currently a moving van parking facility that will soon be a medical cannabis facility / indoor golf facility following the vote we just took. And just east of that is the firehouse, the station that's slated for development. So there's a lot of stuff going on. Obviously this went to the Alcohol Licensing Committee. Ms. Coughlin, thoroughly familiar with all of the public feedback at the 4th and Rhode Island intersection, but Max has been, even under the old management, very good, not a lot of complaints. And the settlement agreement still retains all the existing language about no loitering signs, cameras, calling the police if anything's happening, and so forth. So I'm not too worried about that, but trust but verify.
Great.
Thank you.
Any other commissioners wishing to speak to this issue or have a question? Right, with no hands noted, I'll
I
move.
move to adopt the resolution.
Okie dokie.
Second.
Just gonna briefly see if anyone from the public has any questions or comments. I'm gonna table that. Just one moment. Don't see any hands. Any objections to the motion?
We have to vote on it regardless.
Oh, right, to adopt it.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, so great. Any objections to taking on this issue? With none noted, you're discussing it, right? Was the motion to
I
vote?
move to adopt the resolution.
Okay, got it. Okay, great, excellent. So we are voting to adopt the resolution. Great. And then in that case, I'm going to go into a roll call vote. Commissioner Jones?
Aye.
Commissioner Sani?
Aye.
Commissioner Williams?
Nay.
Sorry, Commissioner Williams, did you say nay or yay?
Aye.
Okay, sorry, I just wanted to make sure your vote was
See, I
recorded.
had the mic on this time.
Amazing. Commissioner Galvin,
Aye.
Commissioner Anderson is myself, and I vote aye. Commissioner Bishop Henchman,
Aye.
and Commissioner Headland.
Aye.
Great, with a vote of 7 to 0, this resolution passes. Great, moving on to item 11 on the internet, other reports or presentations. We have DDOT we have Cornelius Anderson and co from DDOT to give a presentation on the MBT pilot speed feedback on the smart sign.
I feel
Cornelius.
bad, I predicted well after 8 o'clock. I guess
Well,
it is
it
a
is
little after
8:03, so we're technically after 8 p.m. All right, I thought I saw Cornelius, there he is. Okay, amazing. You all should have you should all have co-host capabilities. Anamita, great. Perfect. And
Thank
I'll
you.
have 10 minutes for your presentation, and then we'll go into Q&A.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Can you all hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Great. Thank you so much for having us. So as you guys said, my name is Anna Mitagal. I'm with the lab at DC, and my colleague Cornelius Anderson is with the Department of Transportation, and also I have Valentina Ficuse also on the line, so just wanted to quickly mention them. Really appreciate you guys making the time for us today. The lab at DC, we are a research and design team in DC government. We also have like a bit of a sister research team in DDOT. And we have been for the last year or the last couple of months actually doing some research on ways we can improve safety on the Metropolitan Branch Trail, and wanted to kind of share a little bit about that project and a pilot that we have coming up with a speed feedback sign. So as you guys, just to kind of set the stage a bit, you all are probably very well aware. Thousands of folks use the Metropolitan Branch Trail every single day for a lot of different reasons, you know, exercise and commuting, probably primarily commuting, but also just for leisure, for walking their dogs, for just getting out. In the last couple of years, you guys have probably also seen or you know, aware as well that there have been an increase in the number of micromobility users. And so when we say that, we mean like electric bikes, electric scooters, and those kind of vehicles on the trail. And with those new devices, they also move a little faster. And with increased speeds, we can also see an increased risk for collision and crashes. And that's particularly a challenge at congestion points on the trail. And so some of those might be points where we see a lot of folks converge. So perhaps when the trail connects to the Rhode Island Metro Point or the Noma Metro Point, Alethea Tanner Park, those are some of the places we mean when we are kind of thinking of these congestion points. And what our project has been focused on is really kind of ways we can encourage micromobility users to kind of travel at slower speeds on the MBT, particularly before those congestion points, to improve the safety and well-being of all MBT users. We are aware that there are a number of other issues that can occur on the trail, but really are just focused on speeds and safety with this research project and the test that we're running in the next month or two. Wanted to share, I guess, give you a little bit of a recap of what we have done so far. So we did do a first phase where we kind of have been out on the trail. Learning with people that use the trail, but also learning from community groups. I know we spoke with some of you. I know Commissioner Bishop Henchman found us on the trail. And so we've heard a lot of different things about challenges with the trail. We also kind of spoke to a lot of folks to understand how they've been feeling about vehicle speed, safety, and what are their thoughts on etiquette and awareness and kind of like a shared responsibility to really kind of use what is really actually a shared use trail safely and how we can promote safety. We got a lot of different ideas. And we also talked to a lot of folks about the idea of piloting a speed feedback sign. And so when we say speed feedback sign, we're kind of really, you can see the image here talking about what you've seen on the street. We are partnering with a vendor that the DC Highway Safety Office uses to kind of test out two speed feedback signs at 2 points on the trail. one near the Alethea Tanner Park and one near where the trail connects with the Rhode Island Avenue Metro connection point, to just kind of encourage folks to slow down. And so we're kind of setting it to 15 miles per hour. It's just going to show either actually a smiley face if you're going at or below 15 miles per hour, or a message that says safe. And then if it's going above that speed, you'll get like a frowny face or slow down. We've seen this kind of sign tested in other jurisdictions. And so that was the idea for testing it out here, just to see if it would work on our trails and in the DC community and context. After we had a lot of those conversations on the trail this past summer, we heard some openness to the idea, and so definitely wanted to explore it further. And so we're able to secure a donation of these signs to kind of test it out. So we'll be installing these 2 signs on the trail. They'll be up starting actually this week from October through December. We're going to be measuring vehicle speeds before and after the sign goes up, and then also to see how speeds change before and after this, as people pass upstream and downstream of the sign. And then we're going to actually come back out again on the trail to talk with users to see how they feel about it, whether they think it's improving safety, if it is making a difference, before we can really kind of explore whether this is an intervention that the Department of Transportation should continue pursuing. And so that's mainly what we wanted to share today, just to give you that recap of what we heard. We got a lot of other ideas, as I mentioned, this past summer that we are also working through with our bikeways partners at DDOT to kind of determine, as resources permit, what we should continue testing or what we should continue exploring and kind of testing out to see what could help improve safety on the Metropolitan Branch Trail and perhaps other trails in the district. With that, yeah, open to questions or thoughts.
Great. First, we'll go to Commissioner Sani. I saw your hand first.
Yeah, thank you for that. I appreciate your desire to help improve safety on the MBT. Having spoken to Valentina, I know she believes in that, and I've spoken to other folks at like mid-level DDOT who I know believe in preserving safety on the MBT. It's obviously an issue that is near and dear to us at 5F, given the fact that we are a large swath of it, and we consider ourselves to be informal stewards of this important resource for DC. To that end, though, like I am curious as to how DDOT selected speed as the utmost concerning safety challenge here. Insofar as where ANC 5F, I think all of us use the MBT multiple times a week, if not multiple times a day, for varying purposes. Walking to the metro, riding our bikes, walking our dogs, jogging on occasion. We have submitted, by we I mean ANC 5F as a body, have submitted ANC 5F 2520 on February 28th, 2023, where we requested bollards and planters to be placed at every opening on the MBT to prevent car incursion. We still see numerous cars. ANC 5F 2529 from March 28th, 2023, bollards and planters and immovable barriers, specifically around Tanner Park, where congestion has been recognized, R Street Northeast, S Street Northeast, T Street Northeast. ANC 5F 2583 on February 20th, 2024. Specifically, snow and ice clearing, which is something DDOT and DPW have both pointed fingers at each other on, refused to strike agreements with neighboring buildings on, causing huge safety issues, especially with children walking to school, as we heard earlier with Harmony DCPS, or Harmony PCS wanting to open Crux at the Metro, having children walk through 4 inches of snow and ice that has not been cleared for almost a week is just unacceptable. ANC 5F 2587, another snow and ice clearing resolution from a month later, because that's how long it took after a follow-on snowstorm. ANC 5F 2614, March 18th, 2025, once again requesting bollards after a car got on the MBT. Driver sped through the MBT, struck a cyclist, destroyed some fencing in ANC 5F02, and got away unscathed. After all of this, ANC commissioners such as myself, Commissioner British Henchman, everyone in this room, including the ones who preceded us, were ignored. Numerous times we emailed both DDOT, Mayor's office, occasionally CC'd Councilmember Parker's office, given the runaround about very realistic, proven methods to improve safety on the MBT. And I'm just really disappointed to see that, what is this, like, ANC 5F didn't exist prior to 2023, and we've reached out numerous times to the city with strong demands for proper protection on the MBT, from mopeds, from drivers, and we have not seen any action in that regard from either DDOT or the mayor's office. And I frankly I appreciate that speed is dangerous, speed can kill, speed can injure. But insofar as what makes me as a trail user feel unsafe every day, and my constituents who have emailed me desperately tweeting at me photos saying, I don't feel safe with my child on this road because a car was going 20 miles an hour down the MBT, a blinking light's not going to do anything. Physical protection is what's important there. And DDOT and MPD have just washed their hands of it. And I'm frankly feeling personally insulted that you're coming to us with a blinking sign here.
I'm gonna go commissioner response, if that's okay. I did see multiple hands go up at the same time, so I'm gonna go to the presenters to see if they would like to respond first.
Sure, yeah, no, I really do appreciate the comments. I'm gonna see if Valentina or Cornelius want to chime
Yeah,
in.
I can jump in. To speak to the resolutions commissioner, I think I emailed you and Bishop earlier today. A lot of these resolutions, just to be transparent, particularly 5F and a few of our other Ward 5 commissions that we didn't have a liaison for. Some of those resolutions we are kind of working on backlogging and responding to, but I have made notes while you were speaking to follow up with our teams as soon as we get off the call to see outside of the resolution. I'm sure this has been raised in emails or in other fashions, and so I'll definitely get on top of those items, the bollards, as well as possibly planters at the entrances. And if you can just send me any other request with respects to the trail that has been made that hasn't been responded to. Can you just send those over to me? I do know we are working on a couple, for example, pooling of water in certain areas along the trail. And so some items I have received and I have been working on. I think you noted the bridge as well, going to Rhode Island Avenue. It was confirmed that that is DDOT's ownership now. That was transferred over by WMATA. And so I'll ensure, since that is our ownership, we will ensure that this year there shouldn't be any back and forth or finger pointing with respects to who owns it or who should be responsible for maintaining it.
Okay, any more response? Okay, the order of the hands I saw were Jones, Bishop Henchman, and Galmon. So, oh, Valentina, would you like to respond?
Yeah, I was just, can you all hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. Yeah, I was just going to respond to some of the comments that were made. Thank you so much, Commissioner. And we do acknowledge that there have been some backlogs in regards to the addition of the bollards at those intersection points on the MBT. That is something that we are actively working on. Unfortunately, over the past couple of months and years, we have had changes in staff and leadership. So that process has taken some time to address those issues. And also changes in budget priorities. In addition to that, in regards to the concern with addressing the snow clearing on the MBT and at certain locations, unfortunately, also we are low on staff when it comes to snow clearing. We have some maintenance staff that does take care of it, but it's also us and the bikeways team that does take care of it. So you'll see me. I was there last year clearing the the snow on the MBT and on some of the bike lanes. So it's really because we are short on staff that we have not been able to clear the snow on the bike lane and on the MBT so quickly. And in regards to the first comment about why we are particularly choosing to address the issue of speeding on the MBT, and maybe why now. My understanding is that this has been a pressing issue for many years, and now we have the funding to pilot this type of treatment on the trail. However, we do understand that this is just an educational enforcement type of treatment, and more concrete engineering type treatments need to take place in order to influence behavior in the long term. And that is something that we are looking into and are committed to invest in the future.
Okay, thank you so much. Commissioner Jones?
Yes. I want to thank Commissioner Asani for coming with lots of receipts and evidence that 5F has presented several resolutions and really been trying to figure out a solution to make the MBT safer for all of those using it. And I think I'm referring to safer from dangerous cars entering the MBT. So I have a few questions. First, I'm curious how you decided to prioritize the micromobility speeds, knowing that dangerous cars are entering the MBT. I understand that there's staff turnover or not enough staff, but knowing that there's danger on the MBT, how did you decide to prioritize the speed of e-bikes or scooters and whatnot over general overall safety for MBT users? And second, I'm curious how you decided that the sample of 40 MBT users was enough to represent the thousands that you'd mentioned that use the MBT daily. Just to mention, like, my family, me and my husband, probably use the MBT like every day, probably a handful of times, maybe each day, whether we're walking, biking, or going for a run or whatnot. And not to say like our house should be surveyed, but neither of us were able to give any input. And curious how you decided 40 was the sample, and it sounded like you only did in-person questioning to those that provided feedback. So I think that's one way to do it, but curious how you might be able, how you could maybe get more responses from people using the MBT.
Sure, yeah, I'm happy to speak to that. So we really wanted to focus on understanding the perspectives of people that are actually on the trail and using it. And so kind of chose high peak times that we saw people out there. We also were looking at other data, particularly the counter data that we have. There are counters installed on the MBT, and so we were looking at speeds as well, which is kind of what helped us narrow the scope to kind of focus in on speeds and the number of folks that we see using the trail. To some degree, this was shaped by the resources we had available. And so the resources that we had available allowed us to really, the best way to leverage them was to kind of go out on the trail and talk to a number of folks and hear what they were saying. We also talked to a lot of community groups as well. So we spoke with the trail rangers who work with WABA. We've spoken with WABA. So we definitely did explore other ways we can get not volume in terms of like the people we spoke to one-to-one, but can speak to organizations that we know and community groups that we know are on the trail to kind of get a multiplier effect of their opinions and perspectives of what they've seen on the trail. So it certainly wasn't just really kind of looking to get the perspectives of just those 40 folks that were out there when we happened to talk to them. But we wanted to make sure we also get direct resident experience and input. That's kind of one of the focuses of our research team's work, is really just trying to understand also the resident experience, and hence the focus on interviewing folks on the trail.
Did you have a response on the micromobility versus cars question?
For that, I think this is the issue that was raised to us. We had heard some community concerns around, I guess, actually micromobility vehicles on the trail, and hence this project kind of came to focus um, on that on the kind of the shared use of the trail and the interactions between micromobility vehicles like bicyclists and e-bikes and pedestrians. And so really just kind of focusing in on improving safety for what are the most common users on the trail. I certainly hear the concerns around cars being on the trail, but I don't, and I look to you to tell me if that is how often or frequent that perhaps occurs, or if the daily users are really perhaps the more the cyclists and the e-scooters, and that's kind of why we chose to focus on them.
Well, cars aren't permitted on the trail, but they go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry, Commissioner Jones.
Just a note, like, I'm not sure if you were saying like the scooters and bicyclists were the ones that you're identifying in as you're thinking about the micromobility and speed. But I urge you to look into protecting people from cars, because there has been several times where there's either like a drunk driver gets in through our street or whatever and drives like, I don't want to say blocks, but several intersections or entryways onto the car. A few months ago, someone had gotten onto the MBT, drove all the way down. I think
It is a fatal accident waiting to happen.
Yes, I'm not sure if they entered from Bryant Street or before that, maybe on our street, drove all the way to Dewdrop and wrecked their fence. So, and luckily people are able to get out of the way, but that's all
for now.
Lucky. So I urge you to figure out ways where you can keep people safe from dangerous cars driving on a trail that is meant to be for people walking, biking, or getting around in ways that are separate from a car.
Just going to quick pause because we are significantly over time on this issue, but I want to continue this debate and make sure everyone's voices are heard. I move to add 10 minutes to Q&A on this item. Any second? Any objections? So moved. I saw that, Valentina, that your hand was up, so I'd love for you to respond if you'd like.
Thank you. I was just going to add that that is also something that we are working on. We have placed bollards and planters at entrances of the MBT. Unfortunately, some of the planters did get stolen. So that is something else that we are dealing with currently. And in terms of why we decided to make that switch from focusing on vehicles entering the MBT versus micromobility devices. From my understanding, that was the original scope of this research project, but I can't speak as to why it was changed. That was before my time.
Okay, good. Great. Commissioner Bishop Hedgman, you're next.
Yes, thank you. And thank you for taking time to be with us tonight. I know it's late and it's appreciated. I do want to make this easy on some points. So for Mr. Anderson, I'll pull together themes of our various resolutions on the MBT and send that to you so that you're not having to go through, because I think it's over a dozen at this point, just to make it a little more focused. But I would summarize the community concerns about the MBT as being: 1, bollards to stop the cars on the trail; 2, the snow and ice issue that was mentioned, and I do have a solution. I think it was Valentina that mentioned the staff shortage at DDOT. What we would like, and we do have a resolution on it, and I'll send it along, is a memorandum of understanding between DDOT and DPW and the 2 property owners on either side of the bridge at Bryant Street and at WMATA, who are both interested in helping with snow and ice pretreatment and removal, but need an MOU to do it because of liability reasons. So it could be a win-win opportunity. I know I owe an email to a couple people on that, so I will do that. Probably number 3, the flooding at the New York Avenue underpass, and then maybe lighting and cameras, and then I would say speeding on the trail. So I do agree. I might, maybe this is a disagreement with some of my colleagues, that I have heard it from people. So I don't think, you know, I do believe them when they say people raised it. I am surprised that it is being treated as the #1 priority. So in that point, I would agree with my fellow commissioners. I think we've asked twice who made this a priority as opposed to some of the other things I just mentioned. We haven't really got an answer to that. I'm not going to ask it again because I don't think we're going to get an answer to it. But I would like to know how much this is going to cost and where the money is coming from, because I want to make sure it's not being diverted from the special appropriation to resolve the flooding under New York Avenue.
I'm happy to speak to the cost. So at this point, the signs are being donated, so there isn't really a cost. I mean, aside from, I guess, our staff time to come out and interview folks and understand the problem. So in that sense, it's a low cost test to understand if this is a way we can improve safety.
And I can speak to the flooding where under the New York Ave Bridge. We are actively working on that. It's just taking some time with getting the teams together and the funding allocated and whatnot. But we are working on it.
Appreciate it, and happy to hear more as that develops. And then I think, Valentina, you mentioned some planters were stolen. That's the first I've heard of that. If you could follow up with me, I'd love more detail on that item. And then I forget if it's been mentioned specifically. I think it's in the presentation, but where these signs will be put are at Alethea Tanner Park and at the Rhode Island Avenue Metro Station. So I just want to make sure everybody knew that. Thank you.
Great. All right. Any other response? None? Okay, then next is Commissioner Galvin.
Great, thank you so much, and Valentina and Amita, thank you for joining tonight. I do agree with a lot of what my colleague commissioners have mentioned already. Personally, I think I wanted to ask: have you had any? I have several questions, but I'll try to be quick. Have you had any data on crashes that have happened with micromobility users and pedestrians so far? Has there been any reports of actual incidents happening? I've seen many close calls, but I haven't actually seen a collision between users.
Yeah, so unfortunately, all of the crashes or collisions that we hear of on the MBT is all based off of emails or calls that we get, but we don't actually have a way to actually get that data. So we don't have data.
Okay. And going back to what Commissioner Bishop Hintzman just mentioned about the bollards, hardening bollards. I mean, something that's steel that's going to prevent, rather than the plastic post that people drive over, is what's really necessary. And I'm like Commissioner Jones and many of the other commissioners. I use the MBT every day as well on the bicycle. Admittedly, I do go over 15 miles an hour when I ride sometimes. But the truth is, it's all about timing, right? If you go at 6 in the morning, you could probably do 20 on a bicycle. And I don't have an e-bike, so this is all on my own power. But safety depends on the timing of when you are doing this activity and the amount of people that are being there, right? So I think that context needs to be taken. And so when you start collecting data on the speed, I think you should consider the timing of when the speed limit is being broken, or when it's above 15 miles an hour, right? Because if there's no one on the trail and you're doing 15 and they get above 15, they get a a sad face. They're gonna be like, what? Like, why would I get that? There's nobody here. It doesn't make sense, right? So I want to make sure that the context matters with those types of mechanisms. And there is some research behind, smiley faces and slow down. It does work in some capacities for some groups of people, but I think at the end of the day, the only way you're going to get the person riding an e-bike doing 25 miles an hour or more is going to be through an enforcement mechanism. And there could be, I see MPD officers there all the time, but I've yet to see one actually pull someone over to do an enforcement mechanism. And so I know council members on the call as well that there may need to be regulations that change speed limits of e-bikes and things and an actual enforcement mechanism. Otherwise, the behavior will continue. The expansion of the trail is also another factor, which was kind of described, right? Which is why we're asking at the flooding and under New York Avenue, where it really becomes a pinch point. That's where we get, more likely to have collisions. Many of the other areas, there's enough space, for people to, move onto the grass or whatnot if they're going higher speeds. And the last thing, that I will mention is the data, or sorry, if you can consider some signage, because I think what's most unnerving to folks who use the MBT, myself included, is if someone passes you at 6 inches away from you at 15 miles an hour versus 3 feet to your left, right? And the actual, people, it's basic, if you're going to pass someone going fast, you let them know you're coming, right? You say on your left or on your right, or I'm coming past. So I think some education, some signage there to let folks know that they should be doing that at these pinch points could also go a long way. So anyway, those are more comments than actual questions, but I hope you'll consider that as well in your analysis. So thanks, everyone.
Thank you. I just wanted to actually add, I forgot to mention, we are only actually keeping the sign on between peak hours. So from like 6, 7 a.m. to like around 8 p.m. Acknowledging exactly what you said. We don't want people to have to slow down at 9 p.m. at night. And I think there isn't a speed limit on the MBT, probably for good reason, but I'll let Valentina and my DDOT, more expert DDOT colleagues weigh in on those other pieces.
Yeah, we don't currently have a posted speed limit on the trail, but we do acknowledge your comments, Commissioner, and it's noted. Thank you.
Any other commissioners wishing to respond before we move?
Sorry, just a question. Whatever you find after you implement this, are you wanting to do enforcement? And through what agency or method? If you choose.
Sorry. I will say, so whenever we went out on the trail to interview the users on the MBT, we were also asking them what kind of potential solutions they would like to see, and sort of trying to gauge what their priorities are and gather their feedback. A lot of the comments that we received from them was actually that same comment of putting enforcement on the trail. We have not made any decisions on that, whether DDOT will do that at this time, but that is something that we can look into.
Yeah, I was just asking out of curiosity. I think right now, if you're considering enforcement, you need to also consider the current situation that MPD is in and what they are currently allowing. And I think the trail is a space that's safe and where people go to relax, unwind, get to and from work and whatnot. So if you do pursue enforcement, I think you need to consider that as well.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Any other commissioners? I will make, I think, 2 quick points. I think we've kind of loosely defined, I know that there is a definition of micromobility, but I think we've kind of operated under an assumption that everyone understands what micromobility is. So I just wanted to give you an opportunity to do that, just to make sure everyone's on the same page. And then also, I think during the presentation, the actual slides say, kind of mention like the recreational use of the MBT, but I think during the verbal presentation, there was kind of an emphasis that the MBT is used for commuting, but I would characterize the MBT as a recreational trail as well. So just wanted to point that out, and also point out that there are speed limits on at least like the publicly available rental like scooters, and on the e-bikes, I think the scooters at 10 miles per hour, the e-bikes, there's kind of gradients based on whether you can pedal or not. Obviously, people also own their own devices, but I just wanted to kind of make sure that we were operating under the same kind of definition. Everyone understands that this does not include like mopeds. This is about like e-bikes. So just wanted to kind of give you the opportunity to do that so that we're operating on the same definitions.
Yeah, I think exactly what you said. Mopeds are not allowed on the trail, as I understand, and we are kind of referring mostly to e-bikes and e-scooters, which, exactly as you said, the ones that are regulated by the city do have like a cap, I think, at 20 miles per hour, maybe a little lower, but people have their own devices. Those can go much faster. And I think even regular pedal bikes, some people can ride those much faster, at least certainly faster than me. So yes, those are kind of the devices we're speaking to. And we definitely want to acknowledge that people use the trail for a lot of different reasons, recreational use. And that's why we were pretty intentional about trying to speak to folks we saw walking their dogs or folks that are out there with their kids and stuff like that to really just get a range of perspectives.
What day does it go up?
Hopefully tomorrow. It won't be on quite yet. We're gonna have it in dark mode, if you will, just kind of getting baseline data first. And then it will go live ideally in early November, early November.
Again, we are over time, and I want to make sure that members of the public can ask questions and respond. Move to extend debate for 5 minutes. Any seconds? Any objections? Extend for 5 minutes. First hand I see, I'll go ahead to members of the public. First hand that I see is Glax. We'll go ahead and recognize you. If you feel comfortable sharing your name and where you're located in the neighborhood, we would love for you to do so. You should have the ability to unmute yourself now, but you do have to click unmute. You do have to, we can't hear you at the moment. We've given you the ability to unmute yourself, but you still have to click unmute on Zoom. Okay. While you troubleshoot, is there anyone else who would like to speak? Mr. Aaron Price.
Yes, good evening. So my name is Daniel Aaron Price. I live on the 200 block of R Street, which is right by one of those intersections where it's been an issue for many of our neighbors who've lived here, especially longstanding neighbors that have been here for decades at this point and have been asking for bollards and planters and have seen horrific incidents that have occurred of cars that have been entering the MBT as well. But I just echo all the commissioners here for everything that they've said regarding the issues of cars entering the MBT and some of the key priorities that we've identified as a commission through a lot of community engagement over the years, especially to land on cars being kind of the main issue that we are seeing on the MBT. I do want to state a couple of recommendations, especially if this research is moving forward. So number one is just considering to expand your dissemination strategy as much as possible to not solely include disseminating your report and all information coming from your report to members along the trail, but also considering other ANCs that are along the trail, including ANC 5F and other civic associations on top of that too. Just taking a key look at some of those organizations that encompass the community and thinking thoughtfully about where you can disseminate that research and that data as well. And then secondly is I just have a question regarding if your report plans to include recommendations or policy implications as well, coming from what you find.
Yes, at this point, it probably will. We're a little early stages, so we're waiting to see what we'll actually learn. But yes, there will be a report that will be put out on the Lab at DC's website. And as you've noted, we'll make sure to send it out to not only just this ANC, but we are actually also going to other ANC meetings for groups that are along the MBT. And then happy to from there also share it out to other community groups. If you could, I guess, note some of the ones that you think might be of interest, that would be, we're more than welcome to add those to the list, but it would be helpful to hear that too as well from you guys.
And ANC 5F has a transportation committee, which I chair. And so we'd be more than happy to have y'all to come and present to us when you're ready to take this out again on the road. We can have a longer form kind of discussion with residents in a more focused setting around transportation in these public spaces. And that also kind of helps then distill feedback to the larger ANC as we do. So I'm 5FO2@anc.dc.gov. Please reach out and we can.
Okay, thank you.
Glax, we'll try one more time. Try to unmute yourself. If not, if you want to put your comment or question in the chat, you can send it directly to, you should be able to send it to the host, and we'd be happy to ask your question or raise your comment on your behalf if you're having trouble. Okay, unfortunately, we can't hear you at this time, but if you want to send it to us in the chat later, we can pass along your comments via email, or feel free to reach out to the presenters directly. One quick question for me. I know you mentioned that the signs were going up tomorrow. How long will they be up?
Till around mid-December. Yeah, so we're studying it for about 2 months, and then we will see what the data says and what we hear from residents and folks. And so definitely happy to circle back here too to hear what you've been hearing from the community. We definitely really value the resident input, and we look for it through a few different ways, not just going out directly on the trail, but we do look to you guys as well to hear from you. So we can certainly circle back.
Right, great. Thank you so much. Any other questions or comments? Okay, with none noted, thank you so much for joining us this evening. We know it's late. Thank you for joining us and sharing this information.
Thank you for having us.
Okay, thank you. Have a good night. Okay, moving on to the next item on the agenda, committee and task force updates. First one that I have listed is our alcohol and cannabis licensing committee. I don't think I see Ms. Coughlin. Commissioner Bishop Henchman, do you have an update to share?
We met or they met, I'm not on the committee, but I was there, and went over the settlement agreement language. And I think that was it.
Great. All right, quick one. Mr. Aaron Price, Public Safety and Health.
Yes, good evening, commissioners and neighbors. Tons of updates from the Public Safety and Health Committee. Just a general question as well. Has anyone reached out to the mayor's office to get a MOCR to attend these meetings? It's been like a year.
They're on the agenda. They weren't able to do overtime prior to October 1.
Due to the federal government funding thing.
Noted. Cool. Just checking. Awesome. Thanks. All right. So updates from our committee. So we didn't meet in September due to no attendance, but met last Thursday. One member was in attendance for that. With that being said, we're looking for members. So anybody that wants to join the Public Safety and Health Committee, we welcome all. If you have limited time, we welcome you especially because we need your thoughts and opinions. Updates regarding community engagement. Commissioners have already mentioned this, but we are tabling at 2 community events that are happening this week, and we hope you all join us there. Pumpkin Palooza is happening tomorrow through the NOMA bid from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. at Alethea Tanner Park. And Saturday, this upcoming Saturday is Eckington Day, which is hosted by the Eckington Civic Association from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. also in Alethea Tanner Park. If anybody's interested, especially commissioners, in joining me at the table for both of those events, one or other, for even just an hour, that would be great. Come and contact me, or you can see me after we're done with today's meeting.
If we find the tablecloth.
It's right here.
It's right here.
Perfect.
Yeah. Great. Just bringing this up, in our last meeting, we were discussing ways to entice people to come, so potentially exploring some incentives for the table as well. So just posing that as a potential option and maybe slight allocation of funding if applicable. And I just want to give a big shout out to Caroline on our committee, who contacted ANC 5D, 6C, and 6E to see if we can co-table at some of these events as well. From the last event that we tabled at, which was the NOMA in Color event, there were a lot of community members that came to us that said, I don't live here, but I want to know what an ANC does, and I want to know who my representatives are. So we decided to see if we could do some partnership with some of our neighboring ANCs on some upcoming events so we can help share some of that information. We're currently updating our legislative tracker right now to consider some future resolutions that are tied to some introduced bills. With that being said, our next resolution that we're focusing on is supporting Councilmember Parker's slate of 16 bills through the Care for Youth plan. All of those bills relate to the Department of Youth Rehabilitation Services, and hopefully we'll be able to vote on that in November to have a vote within the greater commission. I want to give a thank you to Commissioner Bishop Henchman for allowing us to weigh in on the Better Bus Shelter resolution as well. So we supplied you with some shelter options for potential, and looking forward to seeing that move ahead within the ANC. And our committee is planning on continuing to locate some of those shelters. So hopefully we'll have a few more identified for you.
And please, other commissioners, send them in so we can include them.
I have to make that to do. There are a couple.
We want to get it done before end of year because that's when they'll start building them. So.
Later this week, I'm meeting with Commissioner Headland to discuss various priorities, especially within 5F07. We're going to be discussing a meeting, hopefully, with Langley Elementary PTO and maybe McKinley leadership as well, so we can see what their needs are, maybe prioritize a resolution, especially around cleaning in some of the areas around Harry Thomas Rec Center. Thank you to Commissioner Galvan for continuing to push the Department of Energy and the Environment for a response to our Fort Myers permit. It's been over a year since we've been corresponding with them. Still no response. They were supposed to show up tonight. They declined showing up, so we're continuing to push. We are currently working with Councilmember Parker's team on the DC air quality laws and a potential update to those laws as well. So we're looking through some of that language currently, which is keeping us hopeful when it comes to this situation. Jumping topics, the bottle bill had a public hearing. Commissioner Bishop Henchman and myself submitted public testimony for that. There were over 220 people that signed up for that, starting from 10:30 a.m. and it went all the way into the evening hours. So it was a very long, very passionate response from the community with a lot of really good statements on both sides, allowing for potential adjustments to the overall bill. But this was the first time that our committee was able to move from a resolution to testimony, which was really exciting. So we're hoping to do even more of that come future resolutions as well. Next meeting for us is November 20th, 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. in the Eckington Community Room with a virtual option available on our website. And I'll just sign off with the public safety tip. So I mentioned this before, but we encourage everyone to attend Councilmember Parker's Ward 5 Public Safety Call next Wednesday, October 29th, 3 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. You can sign up online on his website to join or through his newsletter or just log into his YouTube page. And that is it for me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Transportation, TAPS, transportation and public space. Where's Sonny?
TAPS meeting was fairly quick this month. We discussed the the Harmony PCS move, specifically I had discussions with the school leadership on like how to manage the 8th Street MBT bike lanes, because that's the point of contention, and want to make sure everyone's on the same page with pick up and drop off, and making sure that crosswalks and bike lanes and sidewalks were kept clear of cars, and that students were, and everyone moving through that intersection are going to be as safe as possible. We discussed any other geographical or physical challenges that might exist with that space, but no resolutions coming out of us, just general committee discussion. We also learned that ANC 5B is doing a transportation survey, specifically to families in and around the Brookland and Edgewood neighborhoods, and I think going out to Langdon, et cetera. But the notion of being like, these are political boundaries, not real boundaries, and so people move around, so trying to get a feel for how people get from point A to point B. They also tabled the farmers market that takes place at the Arts Walk, and so we were discussing what to basically try and kind of skim off what they're doing to see once they're done with the survey, to see what their feedback is on efficacy, what they wish they did, and then maybe see if there's any version of that we'd want to kind of adopt for ANC 5F. So that's something we're tracking. Additionally, we did draft the letter for the NOI 25-208 CPD, which is NOI letter we voted in support of earlier today. So thank you, commissioners. That endorses the DDOT notion of intent to do it, install a 10-foot wide multi-use path on Michigan Avenue Northeast from Irving Street / Harewood all the way down to Monroe Street. That's basically the north side of Michigan on Catholics universities like border basically. And that'll provide a really safe enough, efficient way for people to transfer from the MBT and Monroe Street cycle tracks to the crosstown cycle track, which takes you all the way to northwest, like Columbia Heights area. And so that'll be a really awesome, somewhat closure of an east-west corridor in DC, something we've all been calling for as a commission. Additionally, with that, we are requesting that they do some follow-on traffic analysis to make sure that traffic light timings are fine to adjust to some of the turn restrictions they're introducing, as well as calling for a larger scale road diet and traffic study of Michigan Avenue Northeast, because it should not need 6 lanes of traffic. But all of those were in the letter we voted in support of, and so we were just discussing that and seeing what alternatives for which we have. And we might have some additional bus shelters. I'll make sure that's items or called out on the agenda for our task meeting next month. That is it for TAPS.
Great. Zoning and development.
But on TAPS,
Yep.
did you know that Councilmember Parker has introduced this truck bill? So B26-0439, maybe today or yesterday, it would expand ATE automated traffic enforcement. Oh, I said ATE enforcement, that's enforcement twice. ATE of truck restricted routes, and would require DDOT to triple its deployment of cameras, including a requirement to place half of them in Ward 5, because we have so many different truck routes. And I think we've done a previous resolution, maybe Commissioner Galvan, maybe you, on truck cameras and how we need them at certain intersections. So I wanted to make you aware of that.
Thank you. I think Commissioner Galvan sponsored deal, but very much something that TAPS would be really happy to co-sign along with you, Commissioner Galvan, if you want to work on that.
I've just forwarded the info TAPS list, and
thank you.
Would love to see a resolution.
That sounds great. Thank you.
Okay, zoning and development.
Mr. Stone is just finished hosting a conference for 400 people and is celebrating suitably. So I can relate that we met and went over the resolution that was passed earlier on the 2210 5th Street. I think we talked about some other things, but not any business.
Great. Library task force, any updates there? Anyone aware?
I know they met. They're discussing their library, their survey they want to give to residents to see what features they would like to see in a library. They're still working to get feedback from committee members or task force members before they start figuring out how to disseminate that. They are inviting DCPL to their November and December meetings, and simultaneously there was just general discussion on like what the respective development timelines look like for both candidate locations. I believe there was some announcement of a delay on the Bryant Street phase, and so they're trying to see what the timelines might look like on that front. But just trying to see where things are in this ever-moving sphere.
Or not moving.
Yeah.
Great, amazing. I don't see any other hands, so and I didn't receive any appointments, so we are at item 13 or 14, depending on which item of the agenda you're looking at, or 14 or 15, which is adjournment. Is there a motion?
Move to adjourn.
I second. Any objections? Nope. All right, at 8:56, we are adjourned. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
The next
so much.
meeting of ANC 5F is November 18th.
We will see you November 18th. Have a good evening.
Thanks, Commissioner Anderson.